The 4% OBC Muslim reservation has sparked another flashpoint in the poll-bound state. The BJP-led government has decided to split this quantum equally between the Vokkaligas and the Veerashaiva Lingayats at 2% each in jobs and admissions in educational institutions, which has been welcomed by the two politically influential communities. However, massive protests erupted outside former Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa's home, with members of the Banjara community going on a rampage, clashing with the police and vandalizing property. Muslim groups, including the SDPI, protested in Koppal and Bengaluru as well. The Congress has once again trained its guns at the BJP, accusing the party of conspiring to breed animosity between the two communities. The Congress has declared that it will restore the quota to the minority community if the party comes to power in the state. Once again, the BJP has gone all out to woo the Lingayats and Vokkaliga vote bank to secure power in the state in a clear bid to consolidate itself. Remember, both forward castes together have sway over 150 assembly seats in Karnataka. The question remains, will this deliver political dividends to the BJP, or will the counter-polarization of SCs, STs and Muslims boost the opposition side? Has the BJP made the right caste calculation? But before that, some piece of breaking news coming in. In fact, BJP MLA Virupakshpa has been arrested by the Lok Ayuk. The Karnataka High Court has rejected his bail plea. He is the main accused along with his son in a bribery scandal. His son was caught red-handed accepting a bribe of 40 lakhs. Subsequent raids led to the seizure of 8 crores in cash. Harish is joining me live. So this was long awaited. So the BJP now is trying to send a message that as far as action is in this case is concerned, the law is taking its course.
Yes, perhaps after several questions on why the party hadn't expelled the minister or the MLA or even issued a notice, finally the Lok Ayukta today arresting him. This was anticipated, especially with the Karnataka High Court dismissing his bail application, and a very strong argument in front of the High Court saying that he's required for investigation seems to have convinced the High Court to dismiss that petition. Now he's been arrested from the toll plaza near Sandra, that's in Tumukuru. That's what we understand. We also understand that senior officials of the Lok Ayukta police are currently holding a meeting in Bengaluru. Remember, he's the prime accused in this case. In excess of 8 crore rupees has been seized, including from his room in his residence, at his office in Bengaluru, and that needs explanation. We've only had the MLA coming out and saying, well, several houses in Chennagiri have 4 to 5 crore rupees. That is no big deal. But now he will have to give clear-cut details to the Lok Ayukta on where that money came from. Second, also remember, he was the chairman of a state PSU, and there were allegations that there were multiple such deals where kickback was being received. So that too, perhaps the investigation will consider and widen that probe to see if this had happened in other deals in this PSU as well.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. Let me bring in my guests. Vivek Subbareddy is a spokesperson of Karnataka BJP, Aishwarya Mahadev representing the Congress, Aditya Srinivasan is an advocate, B.S. Arun is a senior journalist. Mr. Reddy, it looks like your party isn't confident of its victory in the upcoming polls and therefore is using reservation tool to attract the voters. How will this counter all that has been set as a narrative against you, including corruption, lack of infrastructure growth and others?
Well, I think this was one of the moot issues which had really occupied the political landscape for many number of years. And all political parties were afraid to take a call. That's the reality.
But why are you taking this call just weeks before the elections?
Why not? It was an injustice that had to be set right. An injustice that had remained too long. Because Article 15 and 16 of the Constitution of India declares that reservation for whom? For those who are socially and educationally backward. And that list has been specified. Religion does not come under that list. And it has been there has been a clear understanding of this article 14, 15 and 16.
Since you're talking about that there has been a clear understanding that it's not about religion, then tell us, and that it is a correction of a wrong which was there historically. Was there any scientific study that was done by your government? And on what basis does the government of the day in Karnataka feel that a large section of Muslims have moved out of backwardness?
Well, the scientific study, if ever it ought to be done, has to be done with respect to the prevailing OBCs, the backward classes. The Supreme Court dictum in Krishnamurthy's case says that unless you have statistical data with respect to the prevailing backward classes, backward classes meaning backward classes within the Hindu system or within the Hindu religion who have undergone oppression, exploitation, and who have therefore become socially and educationally backward. It is very clear. The Constitution has been read to be, it has been interpreted to mean that those who have undergone this exploitation for generations, they have to be uplifted and therefore affirmative action is given or taken under the Constitution for them.
Because the BJP is trying to justify this, clearly keeping in mind the elections. I want to understand from you, the BJP is saying that today's violence was the handiwork of the Congress party. The Chief Minister says that the Congress party, especially its local unit, instigated the violence as it was unable to tolerate efforts that have been made by the BJP government to provide social justice to the deprived communities.
Yeah, that's precisely the point. That's precisely the point.
Aishwarya Mahadev.
For about 3 or 4 decades from the Devaraj.
Maria, can I speak?
Yes, please. Go ahead, Aishwarya.
Good evening, Maria. First and foremost, the fact of the matter is that hello.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
That the BJP has treated all communities, not only the Muslims, but the Vokkaligas and Lingayats also, both of whom expected the mere pittance of 2% reservation, while they were asking for 15 and 12% respect. One. Second is, even STs and STs reservation, you increase the ceiling, which cannot cross 50% to 56% now. You did it in December 2020, and you sat silent till March when it was exposed that neither had the government given a representation or even asked for the law that passed increasing reservation to be placed in the 9th schedule.
Okay, Aishwarya, there seems to be some problem with your line. I'm going to ask my producer to fix that. In the meanwhile, let me get in B.S. Arun. B.S. Arun, how do you see this playing out? Because the Congress has also claimed that it will restore the 4% Muslim reservation if elected back to power. Will it lead to polarization?
Well, I think it does to some extent. But then the decision of the government, I think, is going to largely help the BJP because it seems to have won back the support of the Lingayats, who were perceived to be moving away from the BJP's core, support base, because their leader, the Lingayat strongman, Mr. Yediyurappa, was removed as the chief minister. And once he was removed, there was a sort of unhappiness among the Lingayats that he was removed. And then, that I think BJP would be happy with that because almost the entire community has supported the decision of the government. Secondly, as regards the support of the Muslims for Congress, the Congress is now, yesterday it came out in support of the Muslims against the reservation policy. Muslims in any case were supporting the Congress to a large extent in Karnataka, and that in any case would have continued. But what has happened now, perhaps in the recent past, is that the OIC's party, the MIM, and the SDPI in the coastal Mangalore side were getting strengthened. And if the Congress, goes all out in support of the Muslims, there is a possibility that the...
Okay. Mr. Srinivasan, yesterday, Union Home Minister had said that there is no provision for reservation based on religion. But isn't it a fact that Muslims have not been categorized as a backward class based on the religion, but on the basis of backwardness?
That's possibly the only basis on which they could have received the benefits of reservation, which was meant to be for socially and educationally backward communities. So they would not have been classified as religious minorities, but rather as socially and educationally backward communities. But having said that, I think it's completely within the gift of the government to remove a community from the benefit of socially and educationally backward community, and to therefore deprive them of the benefit of reservation and whatever other welfare measures there are. That's something that they can do, and I think that's exactly what the government has done.
Okay. No, but the larger question is there has to be a reasoning and an argument as to why was it distributed among the Lingayats and the Vokkaliga voters, and why is the Congress saying that it will restore the 4% to the Muslims? Because Aishwarya, don't you feel that this will hurt the Congress party's prospects among the Lingayat and Vokkaliga voters?
First and foremost, we believe that even the reservation given to the Lingayat and the Vokkaligas, because the entire barrier has crossed 50%, will not pass constitutional muster unless you add it to the 9th schedule or you basically amend the articles of the constitution. But the second part I want to tell you, and I disagree with the respected lawyer who spoke before, is that the Indra Sawhney case lays down a principle that every state will have a permanent backward classes commission, one. And second, that any reorganization, recategorization or change in reservation structure shall only be made on the basis of a report. And mind you, the only report that has come in Karnataka is an interim report, which in the Maharashtra Maratha judgment, the Supreme Court quashed, saying an interim judgment is not good enough to actually reallocate reservation in any part 1. Second thing is, the Congress party is not talking about only re-gifting. We're saying this was unscientific. It is constitutionally untenable. It is not only the Muslims, but the Lingayats, the SCs and the Vokkaligas have been cheated, because this metric will not only fail constitutional muster, but it will also not allow for this act to come into place, because these matters are already sub judice. What we're saying is this was hurried, it was a con job, and this was basically done with elections in view. Maria, the code of conduct will be announced in a few days now. Please tell me how anybody will enjoy any of this reservation. And you're basically breeding enmity and contempt amongst communities by pulling from another and putting to another. If you really wanted to give also reservation to all these communities, you could have done it scientifically. The Nagmohan Das committee report you sat on for 4 years. Backward Class Commission's report on an interim report you passed. All of this is patently illegal, and you're trying to push it through.
What the Congress did was unconstitutional, I think, Maria. What the Congress did was unconstitutional, bringing in a religion within the concept of backwardness. I think that itself was unconstitutional.
1 second. No, Maria, let me give you a clarification. No, 1 second. This reservation for Muslims, sir, can I please respond? Then you may interrupt me. In 1995 or in the 90s, when the first quota for the Muslims came in, not based on religion but on economic backwardness, it was never challenged after. You never saw studies to tell you remove them. To remove them, you cannot do it. And successive BJP governments have been there for years. You could have had a study, you could have done it. But today now, with the view of elections, with the view of further perpetuating communalism and hate amongst communities, you have done this. Not only does it, and Vivek Subba Reddy is one of the smartest lawyers I know. Ask him to tell me where in law is any of this founded.
All right. Thank you so much. Aishwarya Mahadev, Vivek Subba Reddy, Aditya Srinivasan and B.S. Arun. Of course, the BJP has done it, keeping in mind the caste calculus and how it will be playing out. That's all from me. I'll be seeing you tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching.